This past year has been crazy for all of us. I can still remember when we first started realizing COVID was going to have an impact on our gathering together on Sundays. We had a Wednesday staff meeting where we made all these plans of how we were going to gather safely. And then Thursday, we decided to go virtual. Things changed so fast, and there was so much that we had to rethink about how we do ministry during the pandemic. Fast forward to the summer.
We noticed a couple things. First, with all the social distancing requirements, we were not going to be able to regather everyone back at Mishkan Shalom Synagogue in Philadelphia. And so we began to pray that the Lord might provide another building, another space for us to regather people. We also began to notice that the suburban areas were reopening a little sooner than the city. And so we began to focus our search for another facility in the surrounding suburbs. And so we had a list of 100 churches on a spreadsheet that we were just calling in all different areas of the suburbs.
And so over the course of nearly a month, we didn't get very far. There were some churches who were not meeting in person at all and didn't intend to and weren't comfortable having anyone else do so. There were some churches who were meeting in person and just didn't have space or time available for us. There were a few who were able to offer us an afternoon or an evening time to gather. And so that seemed to be the best we were going to be able to find.
So I was doing everything I could to help our staff get through this long spreadsheet. And one of our staff asked if I could make a single phone call. She had gotten to all of her calls except for one. And so the call that she wanted me to make was to this church, Journey Church in Plymouth Meeting, and just a small building right across the street from the Plymouth Meeting Mall. And so I called Journey Church, and right away I got a hold of their secretary, and I explained we're looking for a place to worship. We were wondering if they were using the facility right now, and if not, could we possibly worship there? And she asked if I would hold for just a minute. And a minute later she came back and said, "When would you like to come worship here?" And it was that easy. They had been praying as a church for another church to come use the building. They had, prior to the pandemic, moved out of the building into a space closer to where their congregants lived, and the building was lying dormant. So that's how we wound up with the Journey Church.
So I actually started attending City Light in the late summer of 2019. So I'd only been coming here for a few months, 6 months at best, before the lockdown happened and we had to stop services at City Light Manioc. Me being an intern and me having a lot of responsibility for getting the services up and running here, and pretty much being here almost every Sunday since then, I've come to know a lot of people from City Light through Plymouth Meeting. Just from seeing them here every Sunday morning, seeing them for each of our services that we had, even the 6 p.m. services that we used to have. It's been a great opportunity just to get to know a lot of people from City Light through Plymouth Meeting.
I consider the building in Plymouth Meeting to be nothing less than God's miraculous provision. Throughout the pandemic, the building has provided the opportunity for City Light Church to gather in person with the risen Christ in our midst for God's glory. It has been incredible. Now that we're regathering our entire congregation, all of City Light Manioc, back into our building in Manioc, I want you to be praying for the future of our Plymouth Meeting building. We believe that that building will be an incredible kingdom asset for us for months and perhaps even years to come into the future. It's going to be a building where we're going to be able to hold classes and host events, where City Light students may be able to gather, where our staff will be able to meet, and God willing, a building from which we're going to be able to do ministry in Montgomery County. On top of that, as you know, City Light, our vision is to plant 10 churches by 2030, and that will include planting churches in the suburbs. And so please be praying that the Lord will raise up a congregational pastor and a team to plant a church in Montgomery County, and pray for wisdom to know if we should plant that congregation in the Plymouth Meeting building. Beginning on Sunday, June 13th, our entire congregation, all of City Light Manioc, will begin gathering together again as one family under one roof at 9 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. And I would love for both you to be there and for you to invite a friend who's not yet a member of a Bible-believing church to join us. We're going to be worshiping God as one community, and I would love for you to be there and for your friends to experience it as well.